Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Live from the GBM studios in Belize City, it's Open Your Eyes. Start your morning right with your hosts, Sabrina Daly and Isani Caetano.
Good morning, Belize, and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I am Isani Caetano.
And I'm Sabrina Daly. And
it's Wednesday.
it is Wednesday. Good morning, Isani.
Good
How
morning,
you
my
doing?
friend. I'm good, and you?
I'm good too.
You look kind of chipper this morning. I feel your energy already.
I already have like half a coffee in me, Isani. I'm already and set to go. I think I could run through the rest of the day, at least with that what I have so far.
So for some reason, I just woke up feeling a bit mute.
Really?
Like I haven't really been saying much since this morning.
I thought this was a regular Wednesday, so I'm joking.
No. I don't know. I think I'm still tossing around certain things in my head.
You didn't get a good night's sleep?
No. Perfectly well rested.
Okay, you're shuffling your questions and what you want to discuss later, right?
Organize certain things in my mind.
Let me tell you, right? This morning I got in and I saw Isani at his chair already with a pen and paper. I said, okay, today is a special day. Something is happening. He not no book and paper, book and pen man.
I usually go off the top, right?
I know.
Today I said, you know what? I'll put in the extra preparation.
All right. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I guess there's no big reveal because from yesterday we've been announcing that we will have the Prime Minister joining us this morning.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess that's the reason why, I'm kind of in a certain headspace this morning. But I like your energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope some of that radiate for me throughout the course of the day,
Let me send it your way now.
right?
All right. You got it. You got what you need for the rest of the morning. But we also have another segment to look forward to. So I'll still send you over just to give the formality of the presentation.
No problem. Here we go. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, guys, and again, it's no major secret, we will be joined for an extended conversation this morning by Prime Minister John Briceño. And of course, following that conversation, we will be celebrating the empowerment of culture and the Miss African Queen. All right, so those are our two conversations this morning, reminding you as well that in our extended sit-down with PM Briceño, we'll be inviting you to submit your questions if you want some pressing concerns of yours answered. Sab, take it away.
All righty. Thank you very much, Isani. Now, moving things along to some of the topics we think you need to know before you leave your homes this morning, although I imagine some of you might be locked in for the majority of the show. Now, we have to jump into a conversation that has been buzzing as it relates to small businesses. Now, there's a ruling with dozens at risk, a court ruling to resolve one land dispute. Then Belize shines with two world-class fishing captains. We have to say congratulations to them. Also, deported Cuban migrants are stranded in Mexico after suffering mistreatment in U.S. detention centers. 3 southern villages join new EU job farming project. I believe they were on the morning show a couple months ago as well talking about that. So congratulations to them. And finally, Belizean farmers seek edge in Mexican market. That's right. The top next export might be beef. And so we'll hopefully be talking about that as well. But I'll send it over now to Isani and jump into our first topic this morning, which might be vendors.
Yes. So we've been discussing since Monday this issue of a ruling that was handed down in the Court of Appeal regarding Gwen's Kitchen. But the ramifications of it go beyond the matter that was brought by Ethel Thompson and Gwen's. It has to do with the leases that were issued to vendors in the reserve areas of Belize City, right? I say reserve areas because when you look at Coney Drive, there's a buffer or what we call the road reserve. When you look at Mahogany Street, there's also a buffer there that about several properties along Mahogany Street. So part of what was handed down in the decision of the Court of Appeal is that the lease that was granted to Mary Iceni Flowers by the City Council and the Ministry of Natural Resources was unlawful, partly because there was no consultation between those two parties that I just mentioned and the property owner, in this case, Mrs. Thompson, right?
Yes.
But what saved Gwen's is the fact that the owners of that piece of land in question proceeded to get a title.
Yeah.
But in the case of the other vendors along that same stretch, and in the case of vendors who align Mahogany Street, they don't have any title
Yeah.
per se.
They're renting?
They're leasing.
Leasing.
Right? But
I know they spoke to Chicken Dread.
not Chicken Dread, Chef Ainsley.
Chef Ainsley, but that he's the owner of Chicken.
Naked Chicken.
Sorry, Naked Chicken is what I'm
Right?
thinking.
But-
Yeah.
So, all right. So, the issue here is that if the court is saying that these leases were, in essence, unlawful because they did not consult with the people who live next to these areas in question, that means then if one day a property owner decides, let me challenge this thing, because I woke up one morning, for instance, and there was construction of one of these stalls or these kiosks in front of my yard, then for all intents and purposes, you have a legitimate claim, right?
Yeah.
Based on this particular ruling. So it opens, in a sense, a can of worms for people who, either if they're mischievous in their intentions or they have a legitimate concern, but had not explored ways of being able to address these concerns, now that this ruling is there, they could probably look at that and say, look, this was an example that I was using with a colleague of mine yesterday, right? So I'll use Mahogany Street as the immediate example here. You have all of these wooden kiosks or stalls that were constructed, I think, through a partnership with the Belize Tourism Board,
Yeah.
the Belize City Council, and the area representatives for Pickstock and Lake Independence, right? Because the two constituencies meet at Oleander Street. Anyway, so you have all of these booths that were built there, and in some instances, they're immediately in front of the fence for a lot of these
Private
residents who live-
properties.
yeah. And so imagine if you have a single entryway into your property, but then one of these booths is built right next to your fence. So imagine if you decide, okay, I want to build a driveway,
Yeah, it blocks that entrance.
but now that construction is obstructing the block, where the driveway would be.
So I have a question
Right?
in regards to that, and I don't know if you might have the answer to it, but was there any arrangement, for example, with the BTB and City Hall with these private property owners when they got the space to be
I'm
able
not
to lease to
quite
these business
certain.
owners? Because I would
know
imagine there
that-
would be a level of due diligence to prevent
Yeah, I
this
know
issue.
that. I know that there was some consultation with the property owners. I don't know to what extent and what it entailed. I really cannot tell you that, right? Suffice to say, as I've mentioned, and as the court has decided that the leases are being called to question, right? Basically saying that they're unlawful.
Nice.
Now, the City Hall is reviewing the decision to determine what way they'll go moving forward, right? Because these leases, okay, so the land in question is a property of the municipal government, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because they're the ones, City Council is the one that gives out the leases, right? But go back to it. If you look at where Chef Ainsley is, he's right in front of the Samuel Haynes Institute, right? I don't know that the Samuel Haynes, the people who operate in that particular area, would have any reason to want to, move in on that piece of land that he's occupying. But elsewhere along the Mahogany Street, the
Maybe a
floodgate has been
residential area.
opened, right?
Yeah.
Somebody could decide, yo, you know what, man, I don't really care if it is. But it's interesting though, because a lot of those kiosks and those booths aren't really being used either. And it's an observation that I've made. I live in the immediate area and I have to pass there every day. And so perhaps while it was done with the best of intentions, a lot of those buildings are just sitting there, and in some cases, people have begun to steal pieces of like windows, doors, and stuff, and so people have to kind of come back in and try to board up the place and whatever, right? But I think it was done with the intention for people to be able to, get involved with small business and do that type of stuff.
But in other cases, there are people who have been operating some of these businesses for over a decade.
Yeah.
When we think of Chef Ainsley, the household name that he is, I believe our colleague Shane Williams also mentioned some other businesses. I believe a barbershop is also there, who's been operating for like 15 years. And so if this is an example of what could potentially happen, you'd worry about their businesses as well. And when I think of Coney Drive,
I was just about
we
to
know
go
that
back to that
Gwen's
one,
had
yes.
titled land,
Yeah.
but how about the other vendors
There's 3
beside
other
them?
vendors that are right
Beside
next.
them, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that are right next to Gwen's
And I believe
kitchen.
she said that they don't have.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, again, through my own knowledge of what's taking place there, these vendors should have banded together as interested parties to this particular case on Coney Drive with Gwen, simply because they stand to be affected by whatever the decision is, right? So while Ms. Thompson has partially won the matter, and Gwen's has maintained its position there, if that woman decides, I can't nothing about Gwen's, but they had a tree, then what are they going to do,
Yeah.
right? And I understand that these are hardworking people who may not have the kinds of money for legal representation at that level, but at the same time, too, that's in your best interest to try to seek some kind of legal advice or representation where that is concerned. If you've established, and admittedly, at least 1 or 2 of those businesses, have been on Coney Drive well before Gwen's came into the picture, right? So in my opinion, it would have been the most prudent thing for them to try to figure out how they're going to work through the situation in the event that the matter or the issue now transfers to them.
Yeah.
Right?
In the case of Gwen's, I think what took place is they sleep in their own eye, They
you
try
have
to cover
to.
their bases and ensure that they have something solid in place just in case there are changes in the future. But we hope that this matter is resolved, and at least these vendors who've been operating there, especially the ones that cannot afford legal counsel, they can have this matter addressed without many damages. But let's move things along.
Yes. So yesterday we featured one of 2 fishermen who they were recognized regionally for the outstanding work that they've done and they continue to do in the tourism space, right? So you have all of these visitors who travel to Belize for various reasons, including sport fishing, right? And there's an entire community of people who go all over the world, trying to get that catch. And when they came to Belize, these 2 gentlemen, their service went above and beyond, so much so that they were awarded as the 2026 top fishers, so to speak, right? Now, for me,
Are you a fisher? Do you like recreational
occasionally,
fishing?
yeah,
No, out at
here and
sea,
there.
with your
But-
buddies? No?
When I go on my fishing, when I go on my fishing trip with my crew, I do less fishing and
More drinking.
more
All right.
socializing. But that's aside, right? Point is, these gentlemen, Mr. Musa and Mr. Moratoya, were both recognized regionally. And it's a good look for Belize because, once again, we are showing the world that we have what it takes as a prime tourism destination.
Yeah.
Not only for leisure, if you're come relax with the family and friends, but if you're serious about fishing, then Belize has proven itself once again that it's up there with any other destination.
There's like a whole sport fishing. That's a whole
Yeah,
thing,
that's
across
an
the world.
entire
People
industry,
travel
yeah, exactly.
all over the world just to experience that, catch fish, release them back, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see Belize be highlighted in that way, and to have, captains who are respected. When I read the article and I saw how many other persons were competing, I believe it's like over 900.
9,000.
9,000, and
They narrowed
Belize
it down to 850.
800 plus,
and these 2
Belize,
gentlemen came on top.
Belize name get called in Neka, we do good too. And I was really proud of that. And so congratulations to Mr. Moratoya and Mr. Musa. I imagine this will encourage other people as well, other Belizeans, fishing captains to get in and put themselves forward and also highlight what they're doing on the waters as well.
Yeah. So we're going to go outside of the country for a bit and as we continue our 5 things. So here's something that is interesting. So you've been following, or we've been following what's taking place in Cuba over the past few months, right? But with the second Trump administration, as we all have seen, there's been a serious crackdown on immigration and the strict enforcement of the existing U.S. immigration policy. So a lot of people have been rounded up, right? People who would have been in the United States illegally, people who would have been there legally but would have committed certain criminal offenses and so on. And so in the case of these Cubans, 4,353 of them were rounded up, mainly from the state of Florida, right? And because there is no deportation agreement with Cuba, these people cannot be sent back to Cuba.
Yeah.
So one of the terms we've come to learn over the past year is a safe third country, right? Belize being one of those countries that have signed up to this particular arrangement with the United States. So in this particular case, however, Mexico is the safe third country because they cannot send these people back to their place of origin, right? Their country of origin. So 4,353 of them were sent to Mexico after allegedly having to go through inhumane treatment and conditions while being held in ICE custody in the United States.
Which we've heard many reports that that is the case of persons being held in custody.
So just like how you have the now decommissioned prison called Alcatraz in the San Francisco Bay, you have what is called the alligator Alcatraz in the state of Florida, right? So that was
is that supposed to be like a scarier version?
But we know that the whole idea of the Florida gators, right? Florida, is infested with alligators, right? So it's one of those loose names given to the facility. Anyway, so these people have endured all of this hardship while in custody there. Then they're being sent to Mexico, where they have nobody to turn to, right? So now these people are, in a sense, in limbo, right? Point of it for me, you could imagine not being with your loved ones either in the United States, where you probably established your life, you were there, doing whatever you were doing, but you can't go back to your country of origin. So they can't send you back to Cuba because there's no arrangement or agreement between the two countries to have you repatriated to Cuba. So then you're sent to a safe third country. You don't know anybody there. You don't know where to start from. You don't know if the extent of the social services, if there are any welfare programs to look after your well-being while there. So there are a lot of questions being asked, right? But this entire scenario has been brought to the forefront by the Human Rights Watch, which is a watchdog organization that looks at how people are treated in certain situations, right? And the idea being that they're looking how carefully human rights are being upheld in any of these circumstances.
I'm a little bit confused though. I don't know if you could explain why a person would not be able to go back to their home country after being deported. Okay,
so in some cases, the United States, and I'm just taking my best educated approach to responding, right? In some cases, the United States does not have a standing agreement with another country where you're from. Okay, let's put it this way. If there wasn't an agreement between Belize and the United States that says, you know what, if Sabrina runs afoul of the law in the United States, either she overstayed her time, either she was caught committing a crime or whatever, if there wasn't an agreement between those two countries, then they can't necessarily send you back to Belize, right? But you also have to understand the issue between Cuba and the United States has been a long-standing one. We know about the embargo. We know about
that aside, we know.
Good. So
But I was
all
just
of this
thinking in
comes to
general.
all of this comes to play insofar as what's taking place there. So there isn't that agreement. So they can't just say, well, okay, we are wrong all of their people, put them on a flight or put them on a boat and
send them back home.
Can't do that, right? So that's the reason why there is a safe third country. So in this case, like I said, it's Mexico.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be monitoring that. But keeping things in the region, perhaps, let's jump into.
While we're at Mexico, we could talk about beef.
Yeah, I was gonna jump to some exporting opportunities that's existing right now. We know it isn't the first time we've been talking about the potential of exporting beef. Apparently, Belize got good beef, Isani, and that was something that was shared by the former Minister of Agriculture when he was in, Abelardo Mai. And we know that it's still conversations that are being had. Apparently, they're getting closer to that opportunity to export as well.
So, during President AMLO's term in office, Belize had struck an agreement with Mexico where they were able to export cattle to Mexico. There's a huge industry and a market in Mexico. There's a serious demand for beef, right? But we're not yet at the point where we're, providing cuts and what have you. Again, this is based on what Mr. Mai had said in the media earlier this week. What we're doing is we're selling them on the hoof, so to speak. So we're selling livestock into Mexico. But since President Sheinbaum took office, they're still trying to work out an agreement to either renew that previous arrangement between the two countries or what have you. So that's where closer they're seeing some progress where that is concerned. But that demand, right, is there. You would recall that in 2020 or just going into 2021, when the People's United Party took office, remember this was in COVID, this was in the height of COVID, and all trade of livestock had been cut off, right? Guatemala, Mexico, everything was locked off, right? One of the first things that the PUP did was open back that particular trade for cattle, for livestock to go across into Mexico. And so there were all of these agreements that were made then, and because they realized that it's a big industry to tap into, it's a serious market. So much so that last week when we spoke with PM Briceño, he also mentioned that, look, if some of the sugar cane farmers are having serious hardships in their crops and what have you, then if you're considering diversification, then you could use some of your cane fields and convert that into a pasture and just have cattle, because there's a market and a significant demand for it over the border in Mexico.
I think it also helps us when we think of food production and even growing our economy. We've relied far too long on just sugar, right? And so this is an opportunity to grow this industry, and apparently there is, a demand for it. I'm just not certain. I believe we had either Mr. Mai on record saying that we would have to go through some other country to get to Mexico or something like that in terms of exporting it. I believe he mentioned Canada.
No, he was saying that Belizean cattle and the products of it, beef, has gone as far north as Canada.
Yes.
So while we're exporting cattle into Mexico, the beef, I think from those cows has gone as far
even
north
beyond
as Canada.
Central America, there's the potential of it going. My next question, this is also something that I see here in the comment section by Mish, is if this becomes a thing and it's actually successful, could we potentially see us here in Belize benefiting from that too? Maybe the prices of beef dropping as well. That's something that I think a lot of Belizeans might be asking. I see Mish saying here.
That's a different question, but
I don't like that we're exporting and then charge a lot per pound here in Belize. We need to take care of us first.
Well, that's a fair statement, right? But the former minister, was also careful to say that Belizeans don't consume beef as much as we consume chicken. Whereas Mexicans, they are beef lovers, right?
Yeah, you want a beef tacos, all kind of thing.
Burger.
Yeah. Get into
That's
it,
where-
guys. Ready? I mean, get your protein up, right? But
Bangana as far as I know, you said, Bangana as far as say, you know what? Our Belizean women never really know how to cook beef or prepare beef the proper. That was
all
him.
right, no.
That was him, right? Maybe you got a point. I don't know, because we don't have this
That's not
beef
like you
culture.
agree, Isani.
I'm saying I know that we have this beef culture all along. We have a chicken culture, right?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm only pulling a leg. I never even grew up to eat beef like that. It's when I started gym, I was like, okay, where do I get more protein? And I'm like, okay, beef. Let's get into something here. But we have one final topic to jump into, and this one I think is great for us to kind of go back to. I'm not sure if you were on the show with us when we had representatives from the EU Prosper Project talking about opportunities that will be available for villages and rural communities. And this is essentially just giving them an opportunity to put their ideas forward and getting funding for that, right? But going to them first. Instead of telling them what to do, have them give the ideas. And so we are happy to highlight that the first 3 villages that were able to kickstart this project has been Hopkins, Same Bite, and Maya Center. And so that was something that was highlighted yesterday in our newscast. Congratulations to them. This will bring more economic activity in these communities, build families, several different types of families, and of course, put forward more entrepreneurship as well. So kudos to them. I'm not sure if you have anything else you wanted to add.
No, I'm also equally, pleased, and I do acknowledge the fact that these 3 communities in the Stann Creek district will now get this opportunity to see economic boost, led by them. Actually, as you've mentioned, it's not a situation where, these stakeholders just come in and decide, okay, this is what we want you to do. They were given the opportunity to decide what works best for them, and that's what they're leading with. So, yes, kudos for that.
Alrighty, well, let's move things along, Isani. We are closing things off with this portion of the conversation. We want to say good morning to everyone locked in with us right now. I see Tyler Smith on, Francisco Madrid, Janelle Trujeki, Esther, good morning to you. Good morning, Mish. Good morning, Romeo, Rosado. Good morning, Wilbert Zelaya. Good morning to everyone locked in and sharing their thoughts. Ang Alva. I see April on. Hey. I'm also hearing that we have some technical difficulties with our mics, so let's move things along. I believe we have a weather update at this time, courtesy the folks from the National Meteorological Service. Here is our eye on the weather. Alrighty, no weather. Let's move things along and try to get those mics checked. We are going to be taking our first break, and when we come back, we will be joined by the Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Briceño, talking about a range of topics. We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Friends, what a wonderful word. A great man was once asked what the secret to his success was, and he replied, I had a friend. My wife and I have reared 4 children. We were blessed with a nurse, a preacher, a teacher, and a lawyer. As we sought to give guidance to them, I would often say, 2 of the greatest assets you will ever possess will be friends and a good credit rating. With these 2 things, one can endure life's greatest difficulties. This is so beautifully illustrated in the film, It's a Wonderful Life. Mr. Potter, the banker, had money but used it as a club. He took advantage of an accident to bring George Bailey to the point of despair and suicide. But it is prevented by the intervention of an angel. The most moving moment comes when his friends in town join together to relieve his financial emergency and express their gratitude for George Bailey. Mr. Potter, frustrated and hated, is left alone with his money. The moral of the story is nobody is ever poor when he has friends. Friends are forever. And that is why the Bible says that Jesus is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. He wants to be your friend today. Why not open the door and invite him in? Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Stay connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing *100# using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
People don't travel with cash anymore. People would stop and they want to do a coffee tour, they want to buy coffee, but people don't have cash with them. Online banking facilitated a lot of what we do. I don't have to run to town and I have to use fuel and other expenses. Atlantic Bank actually approached us. They facilitated us with a bank account, which is something that we didn't have in hand, and then with a POS machine. I sit and sip my good cup of coffee and do payments.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Insurance fact. Did you know with Home Protector Insurance, home and property insurance does not only cover hurricane and fire? Your lifetime investment will also be protected from explosions, water damage, malicious damage, and more. So you can rest easy knowing your home is protected. Visit any Home Protector Insurance office near you to learn more.
We at Fulltech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Fulltech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy 8. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
And welcome back. Joining us this morning for an extended conversation on all things Belize and, of course, his administration is the Honorable John Briceño, Prime Minister of Belize. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
And welcome back.
Good morning to both of you. I like when you start off the extended.
Yes, man.
Yes, man.
But I think before get into what you want to ask, your questions, I really would like to take a minute or two just to talk about Olga Marin, who just passed away in Corozaltong. Is the mother of former Deputy Prime Minister Vildo Marin, and also El Pai, from Toyota vehicles. Her mother, their mother just died yesterday. I think she was almost 95 years old. Wow. And she was a I think, a woman ahead of her times. You know, she was a very independent woman. She was the mayor of Corozal and very, very active in the community. And I remember at that time I know they had what's it they call it? Is it women auxiliary, or for they used to go and help in the hospitals.
Yeah.
And you know, I think as what Vildo messaged me, you know, they count their blessings. They had their mother for 95 years, so I want to take the time out to recognize her. You know, a lot of times, you know, you talk about big people that they've done this and we forget those ones that were there every day working
behind the scenes.
Behind the scene, she was also in front of the scene.
Okay.
When she was mayor of Corozal. Imagine in the early 80s being the mayor of Corozal, male-dominated society that, you know, males tend to be very macho, and then here she comes and she becomes the mayor.
Yeah.
So I think we want to recognize her as a fine example of a good Belizean woman that was probably ahead of her times, you know, and being active and working not only for family and community, but also for our country. So I want to extend my condolences to Pai and to Vildo and to the entire family, the entire Marin family. It's a great loss to them, to the Corozal community, and by extension, Belize. So, yeah.
All right, condolences to the family as well. PM, let's jump into it. This morning we have a team of reporters headed to San Pedro, where they're going to be joining area representative Andre Perez for a walkthrough of the construction of this new hospital. Right. And when last we spoke with you, you admitted that there are overruns regarding the amount of monies that this building has exceeded and the need for you guys to find the difference and what have you. Let's begin there. Let's talk about the timeline for completion, given the fact that we have these financial challenges with the building of this new hospital.
I've always said that when it comes to the social issues, we will not cut back. And that is that's a priority of our government, and how we can provide better services for Belizean citizens. And the hospital in San Pedro is a prime example. There has been cost overruns for various reasons. The most important one is the cost of supplies has gone up. Building supplies, you could ask any contractor, from the most ardent UDP supporter to PUP, whatever, the cost of building supplies has gone up, and we can't get away from that. The cost of labor continues to go up. When I speak to people all over the country, and especially in San Pedro, you know, they're poaching at one another workers. So you're working for $9, somebody comes and give you $10. Another thing I'm hearing what they have is that and I think something we have to fix when you jump a threshold. I don't know if it's over $35,000 a year. the tax rate, you end up paying more than what you got, that you are paying the raise. So a lot of people are being paid on the side. Okay, I'll keep you there, I'll pay you there, come work with me. So there's a shortage of labor. We know that. You guys, you could ask anybody, tell you, especially in construction, we need more workers. So also, thirdly, there have been some changes in the plans. You know, usually anybody will tell you they're building a house later. I think I want a window over here. I'm giving just an example, not saying that happened with the hospital. But they start to see different things that they need. I know that they're building, they realize, hold on, we need to change certain things. I think the kitchen, the laundry room, they are trying to see if we can put a CT scan. That was not a part of the plan. And so all of these little things, at one time they said they wanted to put an elevator to be able to take up patients to the second floor. So which was not part of the plan. They removed that. So there are several changes. But I think what is the most important thing, that we made a commitment to the Belizean people and to the people of San Pedro and Kikoka that we're going to provide them a modern second or a tertiary education, secondary hospital for them. And that's what we're doing.
In terms of the difference in the budget, what was initially projected and what we are now extending to complete the project, Do we have a figure of what's that looking like, and who stands to pay
No,
the price for it?
I don't know as yet. I'll have to speak with the people at the Ministry of Health. We know it's a few $1 million. But we need to, before we could come with a number, we need to know exactly what are the changes, what are the costs of what is it that we have to do to be able to finish that off. We believe that, well, obviously we will speak with our development partner, with Taiwan and the officials. And then from there we'll take it up. If they will tell us, well, that's it, we give you a donation, you need to finish, we're going to finish it.
Do we have a new projected deadline of when it's set to be completed?
Oh, we will finish it with the expectation is that we're going to finish it this year.
Do you believe, maybe it's too early or premature to make a thorough assessment, but do you believe that given the rising costs in construction materials and labor, that at the end of it all, we'll be getting a bang for our buck?
Yes, we do. Absolutely, we're going to get value for money. That's without a doubt. Mr. Feinstein is a very well, highly regarded businessman. He has no need to be able to be cutting costs per se. So we are going to get value for money.
I want to use this particular conversation to go into a similar direction. Several years ago, the Saudis provided funding for the construction of the University Hospital in Belmopan.
Yes.
There was an entire stink about the location of where the hospital would have been built, but we haven't heard anything since. Where are we with that?
Well, I think what has happened, it is a long process because here we're dealing with a country that they have billions of dollars and they have lots of projects all over the world. And this is just like a drop in the bucket for them. For us, it's a big deal. And we have been working with them, working with the plans. I think the plans have been finalized. We are now working on opening up another entrance to the hospital from the back, coming, I think, from where the Ministry of Lands is, so that they have two different entrances to get on that. I think we are about to start the bidding process shortly. So we expect that we could finish this project before the end of this term.
Still on the topic of health, there were concerns about us losing our nurses, particularly the Cuban Medical Brigade.
Right.
Is that something that we are still looking at?
Right.
And what are the conversations in terms of filling the human resources if that is lost?
I have not gotten the last update from the Ministry of Health, but the last discussion that we had is that they are already actively looking to get nurses as far as the Philippines and in El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua, both nurses and doctors. We are still hopeful that we can be able to work some kind of agreement with the Cuban government that they would allow the medical brigade members that would want to stay to be able to stay, and still meet the I'm trying to find the right word, meeting what is expected from the Americans who are saying, well, this is a form of human trafficking. We're trying to be able to address that so that then the Americans say, okay, well, they're here working on their own free will, and that whatever monies we give, it goes to them and supposedly not the state. But as we pointed out from the start, we have been paying the doctors directly and not the government. So we're also working on that. I'm hopeful. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work on that.
So you're here in two capacities, as a Prime Minister and, of course, the Minister of Foreign Affairs acting. So while...
Not acting, I am the Prime Minister.
You are? Okay.
Because the Prime Minister is... I can't wait to make you come back to work.
You're in the capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs nonetheless. Okay, so while we're on the topic of Cuba, what is your...
I'm not well versed in everything in the ministry, I'm just a holdover. I'm not an expert like the present Minister Fonseca or even Senator Cortes, so I just need to put that on the record.
We'll get what we can.
No problem. Here we go, PM. So, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been adamant in his position where Cuba is concerned, right? We've seen recently the indictment of former President Raul Castro. what is your thoughts? What is your position on that, seeing that playing out in the manner in which it is?
As we're saying in Creole, that's a big people thing. I mean, we're a small player in this whole thing. But the truth of the matter is that I find it troubling that the U.S. will now indict former President Raul Castro.
At 95 years old.
At 95 years old, for something that happened in the 1990s. For something, as from what I've read and what I know, the Cuban government was complaining that these people were constantly violating their airspace. So they were forewarned many times, and eventually I think they felt that they had to protect their sovereignty. It's not something that I do not support. I don't think that it is the right thing. But when it comes to Cuba, the Americans have a totally different outlook on that. So,
but so still on Cuba, Secretary of State Rubio is basically telling the Cubans to align themselves with the Trump administration. That's the most recent position he has taken. As the head of a nation, how do you look at something like that? When you look at what has taken place in Venezuela, for instance, when you look at what's taking place in Cuba, when you look at what has taken place in Iran, how do you look at the United States in terms of perhaps projecting or enforcing its will on these other nations?
It's certainly something that I think small countries are very concerned of. We in CARICOM, as I always said, we've always taken a position from CARICOM that we're very concerned when any country starts to interfere in the sovereignty of any other country. Again, Cuba is a special case when it comes to the Americans. It's something that they have been after from the Bay of Pigs, way back around 1960. And so they look at it from a totally different lens. And I think in many instances, it's more emotional more than anything else for them. From our end, from our perspective as a small nation, we are concerned when any country decides to interfere into the affairs of another country. We need to respect countries and allow them to be able to decide what is it that they want.
All right, so let's bring it home a bit, still looking at what's taking place outside. So this whole issue of fuel and how it is affecting us as Belizeans directly. We've heard recently where the fuel dealers are saying, look, there was an agreement that was struck in 2004, and for the past 20 some odd years, both parties have been faithful to the agreement, the government of Belize and these dealers. And I guess since last week, there was a departure from that agreement.
Yes.
So my first question to you, PM, you were once also in the fuel business. So
I'm still in the fuel
You're still
business.
in the fuel business, good. So that means you're very much familiar with the agreement itself.
Not as what you think, because usually Jaime has been handling those things.
Okay. Can you then explain to us why there's been that departure from the agreement and how that affects the operability of these dealers and their bottom lines?
Okay, I could explain it very quickly. What happened back then in 2004, the dealers, as I can remember, and the government decided, okay, let's set a formula so that as the price goes, you're adjusting the dealer margin. And so that then the dealers won't be going to government everything. Hey, I need my margin is too small. So we allow that then the market forces can be adjusting up and down. But it was never foreseen back then that the prices would be, at that time it was probably around $5, that we're going to $13 and $15. It was never. So the higher the price goes, the bigger their margin is. I was just speaking to a former executive from Texaco. He messaged me, it was Texaco back then. He messaged me and said, do you realize that Belize has some of the biggest dealer margins? and because of the price. Now, as a government, we felt that everybody have to do their part. Consumers are doing their part because they're paying more. The government has been cutting the taxes, and the financial secretary released the numbers so people can see that indeed we're cutting the prices. And so it was only reasonable or fair for the dealers also to take a cut, and that's what we did. We just said, we're going to reduce, I think it's to about $1, a little under $1 per gallon. Would you like to have more as a dealer? Of course I'd like to have more. But the truth is that it was never envisioned in 2004 that the price would have gone so high. And so the higher it goes, the larger the margin gets. Now, I do believe now that the Puma and Sol and them also should make some adjustments. Because what is it that these companies have done? They say, oh, you're making more money, so we're going to charge you more rent. We're going to charge you a bigger percentage on the store sales and stuff like that. So that entire margin that you get, a lot of it goes to the companies. So now I think it's also incumbent now on the companies to make some adjustments, and maybe that's the discussion we're supposed to be having.
It seems that the dealers would have wanted some form of consultation, though. Do you believe that the government breached this agreement in 2004?
Listen, we could argue every day whether we did or not. The point is, we need to set the price. The price is upon us. And should we start a discussion with the dealers? Of course they're going to cry to hug heaven and say, no, we can't do that, we need it. And in many instances, I'm not arguing whether they did deserve it or not. I'm not arguing on that. The point is that the price is upon us, the price is going up on the pump, and everybody have to try to do their part.
You're faced now with an ultimatum. As far as I can recall, they're saying that they've given you, or your administration, a period of time for you to respond to their concerns. I don't know what action they would take subsequent to that if the concerns aren't.
Well, I've not seen it. I've not seen the letter. I don't know who is it that they wrote. Maybe they sent it to my office, but I have not seen it as yet. I believe that calmer heads will prevail. I don't see them wanting to close down their gas stations. And then remember, you have a lot of independent gas stations too. And their margins are different from what the government's margins are now.
Keep it on fuel.
I just want to ask Prime Minister, for the ordinary Belizean tuning in right now, explain to us how the fuel thing works. You said you work in the fuel business as well. Walk us through how this process works when fuel reaches the country to the point where it gets to the pump and the regular consumer purchases.
When it comes in, the Puma would send to the government, this is the breakdown, this is the cost, this is the fuel cost, this is the cost of the acquisition cost. And these are the different shipping costs that we have charged. And then this is the throughput. I don't know all the numbers, but the throughput, so that they charge for every gallon that passes through their facility. And then with that, the government then automatically, then the dealers have there's a margin that they get, and it's done by a formula. And then the government, they say, okay, if this is the cost, these are the taxes, and then the cost is, I don't think the cost for the fuel is done including the taxes, but just the acquisition cost. And that pretty much roughly how it works.
We've been learning different terminologies, landing costs, and then with taxes from government, and then margins.
And then also remember, every district have a different cost because of the transportation costs. And so that also has to be added on to the price of fuel.
Some critics have been saying this, though, PM. They feel that the moment that the prices change globally, it's kind of like it also affects us overnight. Do we have like a reserve here in Belize where when fuel comes, we store it, or the moment it come, it go? How does that work?
Well,
how often do we get fuel?
We get fuel, depends on how fast it's been selling, but we get fuel at least once or twice a month. Well, you have the tanks there. Very few countries have reserves that they could hold tens of millions of gallons of fuel in a tank. So no, we do not have. I wish we could, but we can't afford it.
PM, do you believe that your government has done everything it possibly can in terms of absorbing some of these costs where fuel is concerned. The average person goes to the pump 1 week, it is $13-something per gallon. A week or so later, it's now at $15 or hovering just above $15 per gallon. Do you believe that in terms of everything that your administration can do, and you as the Minister of Finance, that you've done what you can to lower or to keep the cost as minimal as possible?
Yes, and then I tell you that why? Because we've been cutting the taxes, and we're past $60 million already. When you the amount of taxes that we cut already, when you roll it out for the rest of the year, we've already surpassed $60 million for the year, going to $80 million. And if we cut $80 million in taxes, where is that money going to come from? It has to come from somewhere. We either raise taxes, and I'm suggesting that we are, but you only could increase revenues or cut your expenses. That's basic. Any household will tell you, if I get $100 and then all of a sudden I get $90, where can I do a little extra job to make that $10? Or do I have to cut something, or can I put on the AC all day, or hey, we're not going out, we eat, kind of, they have to balance. The government is no different, only at a larger scale.
So you said that we already lost 60 million, and is 80 million the ceiling
between
point?
60 and 80, and I'm not saying today, when you roll it out for the full year.
Is 80 million the ceiling?
It's
At that point,
no, 80 million is not the ceiling. We're going to cut as much as we can. I'm just saying that between 60 and 80 we have done already. And from all indications are, unfortunately, it will still go up.
So at some point, PM, the conflict in the Middle East between the United States and Iran will come to an end.
Yes.
And it is estimated or assumed that the fuel prices will go back to some normalcy. Are we to then believe or expect that our prices will be adjusted backwards to where we were?
Yes.
Is your government then prepared to either write off the $80 million that it has lost, or would it seek to collect that and then make the adjustments after?
No, we have been making the adjustments as they go down, but at the same time, working with the taxes to see what we can recover, because we need that money. Well, I mean, free education, we're giving about $15 million in scholarships and assistance to students all over this country. We have a feeding program where thousands of kids that we're feeding in the schools. And these social programs are very important. The housing for mostly single mothers. We have to help the poor people, and the feeding program, the grocery bag program that you NHI. These are just a number of social programs that we've been putting in place. That for us is a signature programs of what we are doing. And so we will have to find a balance. We will bring up the price. Obviously, we can't keep the prices up at those rates because it's hurting everybody. It's hurting not only individual, but it hurts business, it hurts construction, it hurts manufacturing, it hurts agriculture. So we have to work towards bringing down the price.
Now, PM, this is all tied to an increase in the overall cost of living in Belize, right? And so part of the campaign has always been to try as best as possible to lower the cost of living. And your critics would call this period right now COVID 2.0 because everything is tight in the pockets, right? What are we doing to try to alleviate this particular issue? I mean, notwithstanding fuel, you can't do nothing about that right now, but everything else is through the roof.
Yeah.
Can you do anything about the food that you import? Can you do anything about it?
Well, I take it that we are an importing nation. You're perfectly right, but perhaps in your...
Tell me where, tell me, and I'll be happy to get it done. We're doing everything that we possibly can. Are people punishing? Of course, it's affecting everyone. And I don't want to be tone deaf that we're not hearing the concerns. There are the concerns, but we're doing as best as we possibly can with what we have. We have not increased taxes. Many of the food items don't even pay taxes to come into the country. And wherever we can, we help. What we've done some very innovative ways in trying to help. We increase the minimum wage. We hope to increase it shortly. We have increase the threshold for taxes to 29,000. That leaves money in your pocket. We have expanded NHI. By the end of this year, the entire country will be covered under NHI. For $2, you go and see a doctor, and you could get your whole pressure pills and diabetes pills, everything for the month for pennies on the dollar. So again, that put monies in your pocket. We have expanded free education like no other government has done. That put money in your pocket. We give scholarships and school assistance like no other government has ever done. That puts money in your pocket. We provide a feeding program for thousands of children across this country, not in every school, not all the schools, but we do that. That puts thousands of money, that again puts money in your pocket. So these are some innovative ways, because we can't do anything about the cost of the imported goods. And so we try to find how best we can try to alleviate as best as we possibly can. We continue the grocery bag program that we do every month, and so we're saying these programs we're not going to touch because that has a direct impact on the lives of our citizens.
Let me throw this in before we take our first break, PM. So you've outlined all of these programs and all of these initiatives where Belizeans are able to put money in their pockets, as you've mentioned. But the power of the dollar today isn't what it once was yesterday.
But that's inflation, my friend.
Right? Because when we go to the grocery stores...
Because that's inflation, my friend. You just said it.
So it's a combination. Okay.
Right.
Right? So what are we doing to address that then? Because coupled with inflation, there is the idea that some business owners are purposely jacking up the prices.
Yes.
Price gouging.
Yes, price gouging. That happens. And we attempted during COVID to try to do some of that. It was limited success. But we have to do more. I think we have to do better. And I will tell you that the supermarkets are controlled by a group of people, and they are gouging the Belizean public. And so and I remember, yes, an idea that we were talking about is trying to come up with trying to find the proper word, community stores that government can partner with somebody in the private sector, and to have community stores that will sell maybe 100 products, that we could sell it just maybe at a 5% increase, and then use people with their social security card that you only could buy a certain amount. Yes, we brought that up, and I think I need to follow that up to be able to have these community stores where you could buy your basic products at a very small margin, and so hopefully then that will help then the other supermarkets and for them to bring down their prices. So yes, we're working on that. I need to follow that up. That we said we want to do some of that.
How about policies and regulations, though, Prime Minister? Because it's
but
one thing to have
you're talking about. I'm sorry to cut you because I know it's time limited. You said that that is then you're talking about price control. Price control has been shown over the decades that it very rarely works. So, but we want to. We already have price control on a number of matters, on a number of goods.
So perhaps enforcement.
But we do enforcement. We have done enforcement, but in some instances, the owners, there's a lot of collusion and say, well, when it costs them $90 90 cents at it costs you $100.25. So then I have to put my price on top of that. So there's a number of issues that we have to address.
Before we leave, though, PM, I just want to go back to the fuel conversation, because we hear the social impact, we hear the works that are being done through the government, but to the ordinary Belizean tuning in right now, they're still frustrated about the cost of fuel and the many other areas that are being impacted because of that. We've always said when fuel prices go up, other things go up as well. We spoke about the Dalavan, now $3. We spoke about taxi drivers. We spoke about restaurants.
We are presently subsidizing the bus runs.
But I just want to finish my statement and go to my question, because there are persons who feel that even the $5 minimum wage when they get now, that's not enough. Some people, it says $6 might not even cover it neither. But are we thinking of potentially raising that to a higher figure?
We are looking at the $6.
What's the reality of getting that done?
Because remember, the reality is that also businesses only can pay what they can pay. And that's also a reality. There was a big discussion from the business community. They're saying that, well, if you go up to $5, you'll have to be letting go people because we'll not be able to afford it. That managed to adjust itself. Why? Because then the economy was growing very fast. And the economy continues to grow. Like last quarter, we had 4.7% growth, which is pretty good. We're pushing for 5% minimum. And there's only so much that the economy can absorb. As it is right now, we're starting the discussion of the $6, increasing it to $6. And I understand the cry. I hear it. I see it. I walk the streets. I'm not just staying in an office. I'm all over this country. So it's not that they give me news. And we feel for them and we want to do more. But there's only so much we can do. We are a small, open economy.
What is the government doing to cut back on fuel?
Well, remember now, I'm sure you've heard about public officers crying out because weekend they shut down their vehicles. We are putting truckers on most of our vehicles in government. And over the weekend it's locked down, so they can't use it. So we're cutting down on fuel. So now the amount of fuel that we're giving the ministries is lessened. And that's a huge savings.
All right, well, Prime Minister, we do have to take a quick break. We've already breezed through the first half of the conversation, but we have much more to jump into. And of course, we'll give you an opportunity to share some of your thoughts on things you'd like to cover as well. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Just cigarettes, vapes, hookahs, cigars, and other tobacco products all release harmful smoke and toxic chemicals. When you smoke or vape, that cloud doesn't just disappear. It becomes second-hand smoke and third-hand smoke that others breathe in. This smoke can cause cancers, diabetes, lung disease, and heart problems. It can kill anyone exposed to it. If you smoke or vape, step outside, far from others. We all deserve to breathe clean air.
In the heart of the Kaya district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easier for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
This Mother's May, celebrate the woman who makes the house feel like home all month long. Great deals like 15% off bathroom and kitchen fixtures from Moen, Hansgrohe, and Duraflow. Plus 15% off Hispasensa tiles, Stormguard windows, and 40% off Sunlight windows. And 15% off Berger paints and huge savings on clearance colors. So come in to Habet and Abet or Brothers Habet, call us or WhatsApp us today and make this Mother's May one to remember. Happy Mother's Day to all marvelous moms.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation this morning with Prime Minister John Briceño. Prior to the commercial break, we covered quite a number of pressing issues that we wanted to discuss with you. But we continue. We have another half an hour or so.
Okay.
We'll give you 5 minutes to talk about
a good half an hour.
All right.
PM, we're celebrating 25 years of National Health Insurance this year. It's a milestone. But there's also going to be a piece of legislation introduced in the House fairly soon. It's called the National Health Authority Bill. But it's being met with some strong headwinds from the opposition. They're saying that
Are you surprised? That's their job. I expect them to say something.
They're saying that there's a likelihood that we may have to make contributions to the NHI. Can you explain that against the fact that we may think Bolida don't cover part of the cost of
Bolida
NHI?
was never meant to cover NHI because NHI is way more costly. As it is right now, this year, I think we program it in around $55 million. And so the Bolida was never meant to cover everything. But it helps. This last time, I think Bolida put in about $20 million. So you can imagine those people when they managed Bolida before. For 10 years by 20, how much is that? $200 million. That $200 million that could have gone into government coffers, yet gone into private individuals. And I think that is what we need to remind the leader of the opposition. You approved that contract of private individual, and we know who the private individual is. It's not the one that you hear about, but somebody behind the scenes, very closely connected to the then government. $200 million. So we this year made a little more than 20 million. We're giving money to sports, and so we're helping with that. The NHI, the way it's structured, it has to be visionary. You know, you just don't stay with where you are. And 25 years, yes, but under the UDP, they did hardly next to nothing. It's only since we came into government we started the expansion of this service countrywide. What we have done, we've looked at different models in the world. We even look as far as Taiwan's NHI model. We also look at Costa Rica. And what some of these countries have done, and Costa Rica is a good example, is that you start at primary health care. And that's what the NHI is, primary health care, so that you don't clog up the hospitals. And then you go to a clinic. And then if you are really sick, you go to a hospital, and then you don't have hundreds of people out there trying to see a doctor. But as time goes by, as the program matures, we're trying to find ways how we could add more services, secondary services, and maybe even tertiary services. But we're not talking about today or next week or 5 years from now, more down in the future. And so the legislation has to be able to be put in place to be able to address those issues. I know that insurance companies they've not gone into extensive discussions, but discussions even with government to see how they could use the government institutions, the hospitals and so forth, to be able to send their patients to these clinics, to these private hospitals, which would be cheaper than sending them abroad. And so if we could then work with the middle class citizens and say, listen, pay an insurance, then NHI will turn to be an insurance. This is what you get right now by the government, but if you want some extra services, then you pay a little bit more. And so when you pool all of, like in an insurance, you pool all the monies together, then you'll be able to have access to more services than what we're providing. But it's nothing that we are going to be taxing anybody for the services that we provide.
I'll tell you,
that's not.
To the common folk, when they heard that, there's this idea that NHI was sold as free health care.
Fairly free, because
but now they feel a little bit duped that
I don't think so. No.
That there's now a cost attached to it.
I disagree that they feel duped.
Okay.
Because first of all, there's no charge. It's only the opposition trying to create but once you explain to people, say, okay, well, they understand. So I don't think it's an issue.
When we say,
and if, you know what's the irony is that they know. It was explained to the leader of the opposition and their team. They explained to them why that's in, and then to turn around and say, oh, they're going to charge tax. I think you may do a little bit of gain, but you lose more when they find out that, come on, guys, you deliberately distort the truth.
So the contributory aspect of it would be somewhat similar to what the SSB does with its contributory pension scheme?
Well, that has not been worked out. It's just put in there, so if someday we want to do that, the legislation allows that.
And you said that it's beyond 5 years from now.
I don't see that happening now. No.
All right, so sex offenders registry. So that was all the talk last week. Your wife brought it up as the special envoy, and it has a lot of Belizeans talking. Is there the political will on your end to have a public sex offense registry for Belize, where the average person, the average parent can find out who lives where and so on in terms of people who have been convicted for sex offenses?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what measures will be put in place to see this?
I think it was kind of funny, and I should not be disclosing discussions in cabinet, but I'll do this in the sense that it was approved. When the Attorney General said, well, you know, the special envoy on this release, and people asking about, you know, having a sex offenders registry and made to the public. Everybody looked for him like, but EG, of course, we support, we agree. So it is being worked out. But again, we have to be, we have to set tiers, and I don't know exactly what. Certain tiers, like for instance, you may have made a mistake, you know, or maybe you were the young girl that you did not know was below the consenting age. There are different things, and you pay the price. You end up in jail or whatever, but when you come out, you don't want to stay with that stigma, and so there may be a registry with your name, but not necessarily going to make your name public. But then there's another person that's a repeated offender, or somebody that abused a baby or a little girl. You know, that those kind of people are the ones that, okay, you know what, there has to be. They're working on it, on how the police is saying that they, along with the Attorney General's Ministry, how exactly, and Human Development, how exactly they're going to work this, so that if there's a repeat offender in your neighborhood, that, you know, an alert can be made, or that you also can find out to say, hey, at the corner shop, you see that guy over there, you know, he's a repeat. Tell your children stay away from that. So yes, we're working on that, and we are going to.
I'm a bit confused where.
Sorry that I use you as an example.
I'm a bit confused where the separation of the two things are concerned, though, because if someone commits an offense, right, that is on the record. So it doesn't matter if it's a case of statutory rape, for instance, where you did not know that the person was below the age of 16, you being an older person, that is still an offense on the law, right? So that should not, I don't know that you could say, okay, well, I never know, so because I never know, I'll be put in a different category than someone who is a repeat offender, because an offense is an offense, whichever way you choose to look at it.
Well, remember, for instance, when it comes to marijuana, when, you know, there's this outcry that a lot of young people, they caught them with one stick of marijuana, and that stays on their record, and then it.
But a marijuana offense is, sorry, go ahead.
It taints their record forever, and so we felt that, you know, get you one stick of weed, that kind of thing. I think we should expunge that, and so we did that. I am not in any way suggesting that a sex offense is the same, but also sometimes we do a mistake, and then many instances you want to redo your life, and if you are going to live with that over your head for the rest of your life, then you're condemned. Again, I'm not in any way suggesting that it is okay. It is not okay. We're following what the experts are telling us. You and I, we're not the experts. We could have our strong views on how something should work, but the experts are saying you have different tiers, and then the ones that you really need to be out in the lookout are those that are constant sex offenders, or those that gone after a little girl or a little boy. You know, those are the ones. And then the other ones, like, they're just, again, I'm not an expert. And even my wife was saying, you know, you have certain tiers, and what is it that is made public and what is not, for those that want to rehabilitate their lives. Now, if you make a mistake one time and then you do it again, obviously, hey, hold on, you can't. There's a problem.
I want to transition into perhaps another area still attached to offenses, crime in the country. We know that we are currently in a state of emergency in certain parts of the country. However, we still do report on criminal acts taking place. What are your thoughts right now on the crime situation in the country, Prime Minister?
Well, we've had a surge, and I think so far the numbers, the Minister Mira told us, I think we've now at like 11 more murders at this time of the year from last year. And if you notice, it's mostly within groups, within gang people trying to go after one another. As much as we'd like, we can't put a police in every street corner. It's impossible. So we have to start to use technology. We've been using cameras, and that has helped in a number of cases. We're looking at now getting a drone to be able to, for the police could immediately something happen, deploy the drone to be able to follow that person. And we just have to continue to go after these guys that are out there causing havoc in our communities. By and large, Belizeans are peace-loving, they're open, happy, but there's a group that, they go after one another because of supposedly turf or wanting to sell drugs in one area and that kind of stuff. And we need to go after them.
We have a serious issue with narcotics in Belize, right? So as you've mentioned, a lot of these young people are either in the sale or the consumption of marijuana. That's the drug of choice. And so we're seeing a lot of crimes that are related to that, but some of these incidents aren't limited to Belize City only.
No, actually what is happening now is that because now the police is targeting them, now they're going out into the village, like Lemonal, when I'm thinking I have their kind of killings between Lemonal and what the next village, Rancho. I mean, like really, some of them are hiding out in Belmopan, and the minister broke a ring there, and they caught, I think, a few of them that were already set to do a hit on 3 individuals. So we're going after them, and I must tell you, I must give Minister Mira credit. He comes from a military background, so he could understand a lot of these things. And along now with him and Rosado working hand in hand, I think we're seeing some successes that we're going up. We're close to solving or capturing most of the murders that are taking place. Unfortunately, we have not found the one from the girl from Belmopan. And that's we're trying all over the place, but it's a hard one, and my heart goes to the family and the children. I can't comprehend what the hardship that they're going through.
PM, I want to go in another direction at this point. So, the issue of Maya land rights and all of what's taking place in southern Belize, right? Earlier this month, there was a meeting of the Maya Leaders Alliance, the Toledo Alcaldes Association, and their membership following the abduction of the alcalde from
supposedly
India,
abduction.
the alleged abduction. Fair enough, right? But out of that gathering, what I found interesting is that a good amount of them, these people who were there, were saying, we at PUP, we voted for the People's United Party in 2 successive elections, but we're not getting the satisfaction that we want where it comes to the land rights issue. Now that goes beyond the minister who's responsible for that. That goes beyond the Indigenous Peoples Affairs portfolio. That goes directly to your leadership of the party, but more so your leadership of the country, where something like this is concerned. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's important for us to set out what is the policy of the People's United Party and as a government that started under George Weiss, that we will not allow the balkanization of this country. We are one country, and I want to make that abundantly clear. We're one country. Now, of course, there are people that are with the Maya Leaders Alliances that supported our party, but on the other side, there are a lot of people that do not support the Maya Alliance, the Maya Leaders Alliances that supported us. Now they are calling on us and say, hey, we voted for you and you're ignoring us, you're not looking, because we've been spending a lot of time with the Alliance. We're really trying to find how we can settle this. As a government, we have spent, Dolores, Senior Minister Dolores Garcia, she put a lot of effort. I know Minister Zabane being from a representative from the South, along with Minister Oscar Kenya and Osman Martinez, they're putting a lot of time trying to find a common ground. We even went to the point of trying to delineate a certain amount of acreage per person and multiply it so that it becomes a big amount. I think it ended up being about 35,000 acres, if I remember the number, to set that aside and to start somewhere. The Maya Leaders Alliance, they say no to whatever thing that we want. So I think we need to probably just meet with them again and trying to come with a compromise. And if we can't, then put the legislation and let it be challenged, because or else we'll never move with that program. As it is right now in that same, what's the name of the village? Indian Creek?
Indian Creek, yes, sir.
We have right now a petition of more than 50%, about 60% of the village that has been sent, I think it's to Minister Zabani, that's saying that we want to change the alcalde. So what do we do then? It's really, really difficult, and we're doing our best to try to find a way that can manage and respect the indigenous people's rights, but at the same time we have a country to run, and our citizens, the rest of our citizens. We have a few thousand Belizeans that own land there. A lot of that land they bought it from the British, you know, that during the British they gave out large tracts of land and they sold it out, and these people bought that, and so what is going to happen to their land?
Prime Minister, I want to move things along and jump into municipal elections, 10 months away. What is the PUP doing to prepare itself?
Well, we had a national executive meeting last week. We have already sent the National Campaign Committee. They went and did an assessment to all the municipalities, and we're going to fight for all of them, and we hope we could win all of them.
One of the areas we're looking at is Belize City. We know that Mayor Bernard Wagner has expressed that he will not run again. However, we've also heard that Deputy Mayor Elude Miller has expressed interest. We also hear that Alan Pollard and Dr. Candace Pitts might be interested as well. PM, I want to ask you.
That's exciting.
Who you want to see lead the city?
To me, that's exciting because we have I'm not sure about Candice Pitts, if Dr. Pitts will run. But if she does, I mean, that would be an exciting time for the PUP. You have 3 great candidates.
Do you have anyone?
And I am going to work with any one of them.
Okay. I also want to go to Corozal, where we hear that the current mayor, Mayor Rigo Veos, might be having a challenger. Are we expected to see a convention there?
I expect to, yes, we do expect to see a convention there. And we have a woman now, Shahari, you know, and Rogers, a very good person too. So again, 2 wonderful individuals, and the people in Corozal will have a choice of who.
But I understand that there's a bucking of heads between the incumbent mayor and the area representative, who apparently Shahari is her candidate. And Rigo is there for what, going on 3, if not 4 terms?
3 years.
He's done 3 terms, and yes, and that happens in politics. So I don't see that being a problem.
So how do you determine, one second, how do you determine, or how does the party determine then what is an endorsement of a candidate or someone who's been in office for a number of terms versus having to take it to convention and determine who the candidate will be going into the election?
There are a number of things that we, as I said, with the National Campaign Committee, they set a team to go and assess every municipality. And there are a number of things that they would assess. And based on that assessment, they would grade it. So we've done a grading. And in Corozal, I think the National Campaign Committee felt that if somebody else is interested to run, I think that person should be given the opportunity to run.
Will there be a convention in Belize City?
Yes, it's going to be a convention. It's going to be what they call a delegate convention. That in our constitution, for every 25 votes that you got in the last general elections, you get a delegate. So that then also those people, each constituency will name their delegates, and they're the ones that are going to go and vote.
I want to look really quickly at the Twin Towns. We know that Mayor Trapp has expressed interest. I believe this is probably his 5th term that he's trying to go for as well. But it is my understanding that there has been an expansion to the boundaries in that municipality where parts of Cayo North and Cayo Northeast was also included. Is there a reason for that?
It has been done all over. It's been done in Joactong, in Corozal, San Pedro, because it's a natural expansion of the town. And then these people that are already living within the town limits or city limits, wanting the services, in many instances the municipality providing the services but can't collect the property taxes. So it's just a natural progression of expansion of the towns and cities in the country.
Now let's talk about Orange Walk South and Area Rep Hosemai. So earlier in the week we spoke with him and we were asking what is his involvement in agriculture. As a past minister, is there some sort of unspoken or tacit influence that he has over the sitting Minister of Agriculture and how that ministry is being run?
It is obvious that when you have such great success, people will reach out to you. And I believe that Abimai is probably going down in history as probably one of the most successful ministers of agriculture. And so it is obvious that the present minister would reach out to him and say, hey, we have this, what is it that you think? Or that people within the ministry or people within the industry, the Mennonites and other people in agriculture would reach out to him and say, hey, what you think about this? Or what, and then he would be able to give advice. He has been an excellent minister of agriculture, so I'm sure that they will reach out to him for advice.
What is the difference between then being reached out to or consulted for advice versus puppeteering a ministry? Because people could easily take that impression that he's the moving hand behind the scene.
That's not happening.
That's it?
It's not happening. He's not running the ministry.
All right. Is there any likelihood of his return as a cabinet minister during this term?
Well, the opportunity always exists. We're always looking, as a prime minister, always looking at, if you need to feel that you need to shake up or make some changes, you do so. But right now, I think he is concentrating on his health. And I know some people are making fun that, oh, you say back, but it needs. Actually, what he explained to me that when they were going to operate on his back, they told him, but your knees are bad. So if we don't fix your knee and we go on your back, we're not doing anything because you need to walk sideways. And your spine has to be properly aligned. So he's been working on that. He is hoping that if he can fix the knees properly, he may not need to do the surgery. Not that he is going to be good, but at least he feels that it won't be as painful as it was. But we will see, time will see how best can be addressed. And I wish him well. I speak to him every week. A few times per week.
On the diplomatic front, if we could circle back, has there been a transition in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in terms of CEO Mai moving to Mexico?
Transition happens on the 1st of June. So his first day would be the 2nd of June as the CEO. He is already in the ministry, shadowing the present CEO, Mai. I want to express my appreciation to CEO Mai. She worked diligently, long hours for the past 5 years. But the minister, Fonseca, said, okay, let's shake up and do a little bit of changes, and bringing in Oscar Arnold, who was a very successful ambassador in Mexico, and then put her there in Mexico to work there with Mexico, SICA, Argentina, and also as non-resident ambassador to Brazil. So she's going to have her hands full.
Prime Minister, I want to go back really quickly to the municipal elections because it would be wrong of me to not bring up campaign financing. Yes. In 2021, you promised campaign finance legislation. I believe in 2024, you went on record saying that it's important that we be able to put something together that can work. However, there was still nothing. In 2026 now, 5 years later, we still have nothing. And we're 10 months away.
Sabrina, let me tell you something. Let me put a record.
What's the whole of the PM?
I would be the happiest person if we will have campaign legislation that works so that then we don't have to spend the money that is required. You know, the voters make a lot of demand on us. So I would love for us to have something, but we're trying, and I think is it Henry Charles? Is he Minister Usher? Or is it Minister Musa? I have to find out from them what is the latest update. But they're trying to find something. Listen, the United States. Listen, the United States. We're supposed to be the bastion of democracy. Obviously, that's not questionable. They had a primary yesterday in Texas. They spent over $150 million, and they have campaign legislation. The presidential elections, each one of them spent about $1 billion each. And they have campaign legislation. Is it working? Obviously not.
But they have a framework. We don't.
But it's not working. Why have something that's not working? It's not working. No, we have to find something that can work for Belize. And I would wish that we could have legislation that says you can put no political campaign. You could only do it for 30 days. I think, and we've been trying to look at the one. I remember talking to former Prime Minister Trudeau to look at his legislation. I never did follow it up. I should have followed it up. Where, for instance, in Canada, you could only, and I think the UK too, you could only put political campaigns for 30 days, you know, and things like that, you know. I wish we could find something, but let me get an update, and once I get an update, I will let you know.
I have to bring it up, PM, because with such a long time in between and hearing that it's something we're working on, it almost seems like there is, you know, just saying that just for the sake of it, and it makes you wonder if there's not a political will, or if this is just a system that major parties appreciate, having their donors anonymous.
I'm not sure about if that's the case, but the point is that we need to be able to have someone,
all right,
something that can work.
Well, PM, I want to jump into some of the questions now from our viewers. This one I know that, you know, open. We've expressed to our viewers that they have an opportunity to share some of their thoughts. So these are some of the questions that people are asking. One viewer said, PM, can we have the idea of breach of contract by the BPO industry and the misalignment of justice?
I don't understand that question.
I do not.
I really, every citizen in this country is protected by the laws, and if you go to a BPO and you feel that you're being aggrieved, you could go to the Labor Department.
Another viewer said, how does our oil exploration activities for more than a decade contribute to a reduction in fuel acquisition, if any?
Well, even Guyana, the price of fuel continues to go up, yet they're exporting close to 1 million barrels a day. One has, there's two different aspects. One, you sell it, and then the other one on the refining. And the last major exploration find that we had was when I was the Minister of Petroleum, and since then we haven't found any. And almost all of it has been exported under the UDP. They sell out all of the oil and they put no funds, so we have none right now.
On the topic of price gouging, aren't officers being paid to look into those stores with price gouging? That is what Minister Mai said. Are those officers being paid for not doing anything?
Well, it's not a matter that we have officers out there for price gouging. It's the same officers within the ministry. But maybe I'll have a talk with them, with Mr. Nicholson, with Lennox. Very, very competent man, really good man. And I'll ask him to see what is it that we can do try to monitor more the issue of price gouging.
This is a concern from a viewer. PM, I'm concerned about private bonds that should kickstart businesses like in agriculture and national civil engineering development.
Private what?
Private bonds that should kickstart businesses like in agriculture and national civil engineering development.
I don't think I understand the question really, right?
I was also talking to people as well prior to the show. There are persons who want to know what type of programs exist for people perhaps in the middle class when it comes to starting their futures, like building a home. Are there anything in place for persons?
Yes, we have. We have funding at the DFC that is tend to be cheaper. And you want to open a business, go to with WellTrade. We've been doing a lot of work with MSMEs all across this country. We've been training women, for instance. We had a program where we trained probably more than 100 plus women across the country to fix phones, to repair phones, you know. And so there's a lot of things that are happening with MSMEs. We've been doing a lot of work on helping them to get into the formal sector. We just met with the director of BTS, Ms. Langsworth, and the idea is that we just to have like one flat rate for small businesses. So like they pay okay like $100, $200 for the year for taxes, and that's it, kind of thing, so that they could remain as part of the formal sector. So there are a lot of exciting things that are happening there.
I also want to ask about the status of the new appointment of an ombudsman. Do we have anything going forward with that?
Well, remember the whole ombudsman office is being transformed now into a human rights. And so I think they're still working with the legislation to be able to get that done.
How about the OSH bill? A floating bill for over a decade. We want to hear the status of that.
We have done our part. Now I think it's in the Senate, and now the Senate, well, I will refrain from commenting more on the Senate, but it's there. We've done our part.
All right. Well, Prime Minister, as we wrap up this conversation, I know we have exhausted our time. I'll ask if you have any messages you would like to share to the public at this time.
Well, just simply that I want the public to understand that we take our job seriously. The plans and the promises that we made on Plan Belize 2.0, that we continue to work hard every single day to find ways how we can make people's lives better. Jobs are out there. You may not get the job that you want, but you can get a job. And I always tell everybody, get a job and then look around, and when something better comes, you leave that and you go somewhere else. But don't come and say, oh, I can't get a job because I can't get what I want. So we continue to work with the economy. To us, once we have an economy that's growing, that could address many of the social issues, because then the best social program is for you to work. And that's what we're trying to do. And continue to invest in health, invest in education, invest in infrastructure, because these are the things then that make a country to be able to thrive. And I want to assure the Belizean people that we are going to continue to work every single day to make their lives better, and that is non-negotiable.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Bersenio, we appreciate the time you took to speak with us, our viewers by extension, even answering some of their questions and concerns as well.
Well, to both of you, thank you again for inviting me. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be here on your talk show. Thanks again, and look forward to doing it some other time.
All righty. Wonderful. Well, we take a quick break now, but don't go anywhere. We have another wonderful conversation coming up when we come back. Miss African Queen. We'll be right back.
Need a fresh new kitchen, flip that switch ignition. GE appliances shine. Every knob, every line, all align and turn the shower on. Feel gold, colder in the chrome. So bold from the tiles to the tiny screws. We've got the wow you'll choose. Oh! the paint to the patio glow. Build it up, light it up, watch your dream home grow. All in one place, all in one place, all in one place, all in one place, all in one place.
Design Depot, all in one place.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. Belize Electricity Limited. We continue to serve you.
Haven't updated your information recently? Well, kick off the new year as a winner. RF&G Insurance is giving you a free chance to win every month. Entering is easy. Just chat with us on WhatsApp and update your information. That's it. You'll be automatically entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win awesome prizes. Don't wait. Message us on WhatsApp and update your info today. RF&G Insurance. It pays to get it right.
Life moves fast. Your connection should keep up. Need more credit? More data? A flex bundle that fits your lifestyle? With Smart Prepaid, they're a prepaid option for every lifestyle and budget, making it easy to stay connected wherever you are. Because with Smart Prepaid, you can connect on your terms. Purchase credit, data, flex bundles, prepaid plans, and all your favorite prepaid services at any Smart agent, Smart showroom, or simply dial *100# key. No stress, no waiting. Just fast, easy, convenient ways to stay connected every day. Smart Prepaid. Connect on your terms.
Belize wakes up connected to opportunity. And across our country, the work to keep Belize connected continues. Smart continues expanding our network across the country, bringing stronger coverage to more communities. With recent service enhancements in areas at Blue Creek and Progresso, Belize City, Orange Walk, and more on the way. Where bringing education closer to home, empowering entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, supporting industries that drive our economy, and keeping families connected wherever life takes them. With every expansion, we are investing in the infrastructure that moves Belize forward. Because connection isn't just about signal, it's about opportunity, progress, and the future we are building together. Smart, bringing people together.
Season 8 of KTV. I want.
passion to leave everything you've got on this stage. Mark your calendar and get camera ready. Auditions are June 6 and 7 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At a Greater Belize, Leisure Studios and Tony Drive, Belize City. Hey, selected contestants will enter the KTV Season 8 competition, and the lucky winner will go home with a 10,000 grand prize. This is your moment. Are you ready? Are you ready? I want. This is your moment. Are you ready? Are you ready? I want. From me. This is your moment.
The future is calling. Belize Bank. Your future, our commitment.
Look here, your kitchen light there, and you've been in the kitchen.
But I'm going back in there right now.
And the coffee maker?
Just to try keep my coffee warm for later.
Where do you know?
I'll try to think about what to eat.
You know, the more you open or close the fridge, it takes longer for the food cool.
Uh-huh.
For a hot day like today, it burns more energy. You charge your phone right now?
No.
Plug it out then. You really only wash 2 Lee socks and 1 Lee shirt? You don't know what small load burn the same amount of electricity as large loads?
But this is my favorite shirt.
You have to be more energy efficient. Use large loads. This AC, they blow hard. You know, if you keep the temperature at 25 degrees Celsius or higher, you burn less energy and you also keep the place cool. And for a nice day like today, turn off the AC, open up the house and make some fresh breeze come in.
You know what? I think I get it now. As consumers, we need to be more energy efficient and practice energy conservation.
The Social Security Board's new whistleblower reporting system makes it easy and confidential to speak up by reporting misuse of the Social Security services and benefits, including fraud, misconduct, false claims, and more. If you know of any unethical or illegal activity relating to SSB benefits, claims, or personnel, go to ssbspeakup.integrityline.com or use our toll-free hotline 0800-SPEAK-UP. 0800-773-2587. This confidential reporting system is a way for you to report concerns or incidents privately without fear of reprisal. Your submission is confidential and anonymous. The Social Security Board is committed to providing a secure, confidential medium for whistleblowing that promotes organizational accountability and enhances public confidence in our services.
Dangriga, something big is coming your way. Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2026 is heading to the culture capital, Dangriga. Join us on June 12th at 6:30 a.m. at the iconic Alejo Beni Park for a morning filled with energy, excitement, and pure talent. This year, it's all about the kids, from singing to dancing, poetry to performances. If they've got talent, we've got the stage. Bring out the entire family and come celebrate creativity, culture, and the future stars of Belize. Expect fun, music, surprises, and unforgettable moments. Don't miss it. Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2026, where young talent shines the brightest. Welcome back, guys. This is our final conversation, but certainly not the least. We are moving things along and celebrating culture and empowerment with the Miss African Queen. It is a wonderful initiative that comes from an advocacy group called Concerned Belizean Women. And we are joined by what I would call concerned Belizean women indeed. We have here with us some delegates, or the delegates, that are set to take the stage for the upcoming pageant, Miss African Queen. Joining us this morning is Angela Flowers. She's a delegate. Angela, can you say hello? Looking lovely in your ensemble. Also here with us is Jay Ajane, right beside her, also a delegate. And beside her in the middle is Miss Teresa Eligio, looking lovely. I love your head tie. And Miss Elizabeth Diego, giving us some feathers as well. And right beside me, who also looks like our co-host this morning, Miss African Queen as well, current Miss African Queen.
No, I was the first Miss African Queen.
From 2009 to
That's
2010. Right. Talk about legacy. Also, Miss Lurleen Betson Gamboa. Ladies, thanks so much for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure having you guys here with us. Let's jump straight into it. We only have a few minutes here. I want to quickly talk about the purpose behind this pageant. Coming from Concerned Belizean Women, a nonprofit organization here in Belize, and then we can transition into the pageant itself and why people should support.
All right, so when we think about Concerned Belizean Women, it's a group of women who came together in 2008 and decided we wanted a way how we could unite girls and women to be the leaders, to showcase what it is that they have, as well as to support the underprivileged. And so then this group was formed, and one of the first activities they had was the pageant. So they figured, if we have this pageant, we want to make it different from any other pageant. So right away from 2009, the Miss African Queen pageant stood out because we are what you call edutainment. And the reason for edutainment is because from the onset for our pageant, we are educating the public. So we have 4 sections within the pageant, and the ladies will talk about that a little bit later. So from they get on stage, they start sharing different things about African culture, African countries, and so forth. So it's more than just a pageant showcasing beauty, but we are educating the public.
I'll tell you, I was definitely educated last year. I attended the pageant myself, and I learned so much about the different countries in the continent of Africa. We heard from Miss Nigeria. I left that pageant wondering if I have roots for one, and I told these ladies look like my cousin when they don't talk about everything. And so I want to get our delegates involved. I want you guys to tell me which country you're representing and why you decided to be a part of this pageant in the first place. I imagine you're all concerned Belizean women, but there's a deeper purpose behind wanting to be a part of this pageant. Let's begin with you, Miss Flowers. No stranger to open your eyes.
Thank you for having me again, and thank you for having us. I am representing the country of Senegal.
Okay.
I chose Senegal because I have been to Senegal.
Oh.
Yes,
That's exciting.
went to Senegal in 2014, and I found like the connection that we have with Africa, and that really empowered me to start living my Africanness. And now coming back home, I am wanting to educate people and have them experience that, especially our women. I saw strength in these women, a strength that I had never seen, in my community. Not that we're not strong, but I hadn't seen that kind of strength. So experiencing that, I wanted to be able to share that. And I found that this pageant, I was like, whoa, this is something that I can showcase what I have learned, what I have experienced, with the hope that the community, especially our women, will jump on board and we'll start having a community of strong African Belizean women.
When I think of your contribution or your involvement in this pageant, I saw your picture on the flyer and I thought Miss Flowers was already a part of this pageant. you embody this type of presence, and really what this pageant stands for. You've been on the talk show before, wearing your African attire or African inspired attire. You've spoken about the connection with colonial colonialism and mental
Yes.
health as well.
Yes, yes.
And so this is so fitting, seeing you a part of this.
It is. This was just like a door open, another opportunity to showcase and help people experience, what I have to offer in terms of social justice and Afrocentric beliefs.
Well, I was also, not surprised to see J.A. Janae a part of this pageant as well. I've seen you online, and you also embody that natural African queen vibe as well. So this was exciting to also see your face on the flyer. But I also have to ask you, why did you decide to go all in?
Oh, of course. Thank you for asking. Well, first off, I'm representing the country Benin.
Okay.
It is a West African coastal nation, and I am Garifuna. And a lot of people are unaware that a lot of Garifuna people have direct genetic ancestry to Benin. Benin is also one of the stronger African spiritual countries, the birthplace of Wudun, and as an African spiritualist as well. The connection was already there, so I chose Benin to explore my roots more and to connect more. But similar to Angela, the whole essence and lifestyle of embracing your African roots, it is my life. I'm a bush gal. I'm in tune with nature. I reverence my ancestors. I'm all tapped in. So when I seen this, and then I also seen that they took off the age cap, and they didn't mind that I'm divorced and somebody's mama and has tattoos and all these other things. I was like, oh no, this is actually meant for someone like me to showcase what it means to be a queen. It's not always this cookie cutter, picture perfect idea. There is a realness that comes with it. And one thing about me, and even my presence online, I keep it real, I keep it transparent, I'm honest, and I feel like that transparency is something that the world needs more of. So I'm happy to represent my country. These women have been awesome and welcoming, and I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. So yeah, just happy to be here.
Yeah, I could see the sisterhood literally on the couch already.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And that's something that I always admire. Whenever these pageants take place, there's an opportunity to bond, even though there's a winner at the end. All these ladies are queens. And we have our next queen that we will be jumping into, Queen Teresa Eligio, also a delegate. Miss Eligio, tell me about why you wanted to be a part of this pageant.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Eligio again, and I am representing beautiful South Africa. It's a family friend that told me to join. Well, everyone always inspired me too, so I spoke to a family friend, and then she's like, well, do South Africa. So when I started to do my search, I found out that they have a lot of similarities within our country as well. And the empowerment, of course, for women, and the unity that they have also.
And Miss Diego, also very important to highlight is that when we think of Africa, we think of all shades of women as well, all shades of people. And so having Miss Diego here is very much fitting as well. Miss Diego, why did you want to be a part of the African Queen pageant?
Good morning, Belize. My name is Elizabeth Diego, and I am representing the beautiful kingdom of Eswatini.
Ooh.
Yes. Eswatini reminds me a lot of my little village, Sainbite, of where I am from and where I grew up. And the reason why I wanted to be a delegate for the Miss African Queen is because I want to embrace my culture and heritage, and I want the Belizean people, especially women that are of my shade and are African descent, not to be shy. Come out, embrace your culture, and show what you could do.
All right, you told me. You told me. And that's so important, because I think there's been this stereotype that if you're African, you have to look this certain way, have a sound or dress a certain way.
The thing is, a lot of people confuse race, ethnicity, nationality. Your nationality is where you are born. There are all kinds of people who whether they immigrated or whatever, who were born in Africa who may not be racially African, even look at Tyla. Tyla's Hindu, but she is a South African international pop star, So a lot of times these misunderstandings come from even like Belize, being born in Belize doesn't inherently mean, oh, you're going to be Garifuna, or oh, you're going to be Creole, or oh, you're going to be Maya. No, we have Mennonites that are born here that are Belizean. We have Indians, like from India. We have Turks. We have all kinds of people. It's just where were you born or where's your nationality? So
Yeah.
that's where those, you know, shades come in.
And if we go back to the pageant, you said it right, Sabrina, in terms of these 4 ladies, they are extremely outstanding. And I'm not saying it just because they're sitting here, but what they bring to the pageant this year is a complete twist, because what you're seeing with them in terms of their camaraderie, this is how they operate. I get a pleasure in reading the messages as they're interacting with each other, and that's what the Concerned Belizean Women were trying to promote.
Yeah.
A sense of unity when it comes to female, and so we're so proud of the 4 delegates going up this year. So a lot of people might say, oh, they only have 4, but we have 4 powerhouses.
I think 4 is enough. I mean,
this time,
if it's anything like what I witnessed last year, I know that I'm about to be entertained, darling. And educated.
And so
that's also what I do. So
it's very important for us to get out there that you know what the pageant is this Saturday.
Yes.
It is this Saturday,
Yes.
so it is definitely the place
So
to be.
let's jump into that. So time, place, where, when, how do we dress?
Okay, so this is what you do, okay? It's 8 p.m. this Saturday at the Bliss. Now, when you go to the door, if you haven't got your ticket from us directly, tell them that you're here to see Jay Ajane, because
I can number 3, Elizabeth Diego.
And you're here to see Angela Flowers. Yes, and keep in mind, as far as what to wear, though.
What I'm observing is that there's some sort of ticket sale competition here.
So
That's the only competition really.
So what happens with the pageant is that the ladies who sell the most ticket, they will be crowned Miss Princess. So that's the little battle you have going on. So
They to try to be queen and princess.
yeah. So if you know any of these ladies and you reach the door and you want to say, hey, I'm going to support, or if you don't know anybody and you just want to buy a ticket, we will have tickets on sale. There's going to be someone at the Bliss half day on Saturday to start selling the tickets for those who haven't gotten it as yet. These ladies do have tickets, so feel free to touch base with them. You can find them on our Facebook page.
The prices of the tickets are?
Yes.
$10 for children, $15 for general, and $25 for reserve.
Yes,
Yeah.
wonderful. I'll tell you, if you have an opportunity to dress up in some like African
That's
attire,
another segment.
do that too. I came last year and I felt so underdressed. I learned my lesson. People came in, it felt like we went to Wakanda. I mean, but it was stunning. And I think that's the idea, you know, go in your Garifuna attire, whatever you have, or if you don't have anything like that, just come as you are. You're going to leave feeling inspired, and as we mentioned in the start of the conversation, this goes back to advocacy. The Concerned Belizean Women trying to put together an effort to have people bond together and, you know, fight for something they believe in, you know, whether any of the challenges or social challenges in this country. This is an organization that's pushing towards that and raising funds even through this pageant. So ladies, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I feel like I both would be edutained.
Edutained,
yes.
We're going to be watching for you.
We'll be, I might be there actually. So,
Sabrina, just give me one second, I swear,
go ahead.
because I think it's very important for us to acknowledge the Concerned Belizean Women, and more so, I really want to shout out Miss Karen Vernon and Miss Miriam Abdul, who has been the powerhouses behind the pageant.
Yes, they were here with us
you.
last year promoting as well. So kudos to all the persons working behind the scenes to ensure that there's a legacy from 2009.
That's right.
Having you here, the first one. I know you must be so proud of them.
I am.
You know, and all the work that has been put in place. But we do got to wrap things up. And again, we invite you guys to purchase your tickets. You can get them at the Bliss, starting at $10 for kids, $15 for general, and reserve $25.
Yes.
And again, you can, depending on what the vibe you felt from the ladies here, you could call out her name and give them an opportunity to be one of the princesses as well. All right. Well, we do have to wrap things up. We want to say thank you to, yes?
I would like to invite all of my St. Mike brothers and sisters who are living in Belize to come and see me in action.
Yes.
Saturday.
And Grega.
Oh my, we have to wrap up. Everybody.
Let me do my job, ladies. We got to wrap things up.
Yeah.
Please. And thank you to everyone who's been locked in with us from morning. I know you guys were definitely looking forward to the conversation with the Prime Minister. We thank you for engaging with us from the start of the show until now. It is May 27th. And if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@greaterbelize.com. You can also catch us on our Facebook page, that's Open Your Eyes BZ. We have Instagram for behind the scenes content, that's OYE Belize. We also have a TikTok page where we go live, mostly every morning. And you can check us out there as well, that's openyoureyes.bz. And then you can call us or text us on our OYE phone number, that's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow on Thursday when you open your eyes and start your morning right. Until then, be sure to keep your eyes, your mind, and your hearts wide open. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.